Meet Socrates, the iconic father of Western philosophy. Now imagine living in a world where questioning authority wasn't just frowned upon, it was dangerous. And in ancient Athens, one man dared to ask, what is truth? What is justice? What makes a good life? And his name was Socrates, and his questions changed the course of history. So welcome to our journey into the life and mind of the father of Western philosophy. Whether you're a philosophy buff or just curious about this legendary thinker, stick around, because Socrates' story might just change how you think about the world and yourself. Now remember, this is education mixed with entertainment. So with that being said, let's analyze this train of thought accordingly. Chapter 1. The man behind the myth. Socrates wasn't born into wealth or power. He was actually born in 469 BCE in Athens, the son of a stonemason and a midwife. Now Socrates spent much of his life working as a sculptor, but his real passion was asking questions, a habit that earned him both admirers and enemies. Also, Socrates didn't write anything down. The reason for this was because he believed that true knowledge came from active dialogue and the dynamic exchange of ideas rather than static words on a page. He feared that writing would make people rely on text rather than their own critical thinking, losing the essence of wisdom through passive memorization. Therefore, everything we know about Socrates comes from the writings of his students, especially Plato. And Socrates wasn't classically handsome. He's described as stocky, bold, but his intellect was magnetic. And he believed that true wisdom came from recognizing how little we truly know. This humility, combined with his relentless questioning, became the foundation of his revolutionary approach to philosophy. Chapter 2. The Socratic Method. Now Socrates' greatest contribution to philosophy is his method of inquiry, which is now called the Socratic Method. It's simple but powerful. Instead of lecturing, Socrates asked his listeners questions. For example, how do we define justice? What makes an action virtuous? Why do we value truth? You see, his goal wasn't to provide answers, but to challenge assumptions, exposing contradictions in his listeners' beliefs. The method wasn't just about winning arguments, it was about reaching deeper truths. And today, the Socratic Method is a cornerstone of critical thinking, used everywhere from classrooms to courtrooms. It's a reminder that the best way to learn isn't by memorizing facts, it's by questioning them. Chapter 3. Socrates and Democracy. Now Athens was a city that prized freedom of speech, but Socrates often pushed the boundaries. He wasn't afraid to criticize Athenian democracy, arguing that decisions shouldn't be left to the uninformed masses. Socrates believed that only those with wisdom and virtue should lead. These ideas didn't sit well with everyone, and Socrates gained a reputation as a constant irritant to the status quo. His relentless questioning embarrassed powerful figures and challenged traditional values. Yet for Socrates, philosophy wasn't just an intellectual exercise, it was a way of life. He believed in living according to reason, virtue, and the pursuit of truth, even if it made him unpopular. Chapter 4. Socrates and Capitalism. Now, while capitalism as an economic system emerged long after Socrates' time, his philosophical inquiries offer timeless insights relevant to it. Because Socrates was less concerned with wealth accumulation and more focused on virtue and the unexamined life. He questioned the pursuit of material gain as the highest good, prompting us to consider, does wealth lead to true happiness? And in a capitalist society where success is often measured by financial status, Socrates' teachings challenge us to reflect on our values. Because he would ask probing questions like, what is the purpose of wealth? And can money buy virtue? His emphasis on ethical living over material possessions invites a critical examination of capitalism's impact on our moral compass. Moreover, the Socratic Method encourages us to question economic systems rather than accept them at face values. For example, are the inequalities produced by capitalism justifiable? Does capitalism promote or hinder the good life? Now, by applying Socratic questioning, we can explore whether capitalism aligns with the virtues of justice, wisdom, and the temperance that Socrates held dear. Chapter 5. Socrates' Legacy. The end of Socrates' mortality was not the end of his story, it was the beginning of his legacy. Through his students, especially Plato, his ideas became the foundation of Western philosophy. From ethics to politics, education to logic, Socrates' influence is everywhere. His insistence on questioning authority laid the groundwork for scientific inquiry, democratic ideals, and human rights. And today, Socrates inspires us to live thoughtfully, question boldly, and seek truth courageously. He reminds us that wisdom isn't about having all the answers, it's about asking the right questions. Because Socrates is the key that unlocked the door to Western philosophy, opening a path to critical thinking and self-examination. Through his relentless questioning, he turned the lock of complacency, revealing new ways to explore truth, virtue, and justice. Without his key, the door to the intellectual traditions that defined Western thought might have remained forever closed. Conclusion. Why Socrates still matters. So why does Socrates still matter? He matters because his questions are timeless. For example, what does it mean to live a good life? How can we know what's true? These questions don't have easy answers, but they are still worth asking. And Socrates challenges us to think critically, live authentically, and strive for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Because in a world that often values speed over depth and certainty over inquiry, Socrates reminds us to pause and examine. His approach encourages us to embrace discomfort and uncertainty as essential steps towards wisdom. Even today, his philosophy has the power to transform how we approach everything, from personal decisions to societal debates. Because the Socratic call to examine our lives isn't just a challenge, it's an invitation to grow. Because by asking better questions, we can not only live better lives, but also build a better world. And this is something we can all learn from, because the pursuit of wisdom is not just a path, it's a way of life. So that is the end of the video. Now if you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, and watch the videos. And with that being said, I sincerely hope you enjoyed the content.